Whose committee is this?
Me.
You?
Yep.
All right.
I'm not on the committee, I just came along.
Okay.
All right, it's 6:30. It is the first public service meeting of the year. The committee is myself, Sue Mayberry, and Danny Loesch. Danny is not here yet. Sue and I are present. Also Bonnie Donaldson. I don't know who wants to start. Mayor?
All righty, I'll get started. As a result of our newsletter article, I got a couple phone calls from residents, and they're just really looking for direction on what to do. They want to do things correctly, and they're getting mixed messages from our article, and then what's published in Summit County is a little bit different. So I brought my garbage, or my recycling I should say, as some props to kind of go through. We invited Terry Thompson and Julie from Kimball saw the announcement and came to the meeting, so we're excited about that, to have input on what we're doing, and hopefully with it being on Facebook Live, folks know that they can respond with questions, and hopefully Cliff can make them part of the conversation. But you know, just starting out, this is a tea container, and according to Mr. Thompson, this would be recyclable, so we're gonna put this into recycling. Is the lid recyclable?
Excuse me, the lids are recyclable.
Okay.
The problem with the lids,
Uh-oh.
to tell you.
Should I get it back out?
Well, this is from one of the recycling processing facilities that we use in this area. If you leave the lid on and one of the machines or one of the skid loaders would happen to run over it, there are lids that will come flying off, and actually like a, you know,
Projectile.
hit somebody or something.
Okay,
It hurt somebody.
okay.
So you don't wanna leave them on.
Okay, so-
Second of all, if you leave them loose, the problem is they end up everywhere, including the floor, and if somebody steps on it on a concrete floor, they end up blowing their knees out. So
So I should get
it is
them,
recyclable. My message, I guess, and talking to Green Star, they're aggravated with them just because they can't contain them. They end up, you know, running through the belts, they end up in other areas of the waste stream, the recycle stream. So
okay. So residents, it's just better if we throw those in the
I would
trash,
advocate,
throw those in the trash. This is a prescription bottle, recyclable.
the direction that Summit County is giving us, as well as Green Star, number 1 and 2, bottles and jugs, HDPE and PET. Number 1 is PET, that would be water bottles and pop bottles, things like that. Number 2 would be HDPE, which is, you'll find milk jugs, liquid laundry detergent, things like that. Bottles and jugs, number 1s and 2s.
Okay.
Everything else, there are recycle markets for 3 through 7. The problem
Is this 3 through 7?
It'll say on the bottom of it.
Okay.
There is no good value there.
You don't have your glasses, Joe, you may look at.
I got my glasses, brother.
Okay, all
I
right.
came prepared. This is a number 2.
Number
Okay.
2.
Okay, so that can be recycled?
That can be recycled.
And then the lid, obviously, we wanna just discard that?
I would discard it.
Okay.
And again, that's direction from the processing center, which I'll say more about later.
Okay. And this is what I do with my water bottles. I have a habit of squeezing them up to save space. Squeezing them together is okay to save space, but we're gonna separate the lid. So give that direction to our residents. And so I have a lot more bottles in there, basically the same thing. These tea bottles, these are okay, so I'm gonna take the lid off of that and put it in the recycling. Newspaper,
Absolutely.
okay, so all newspaper and, so all the newspaper. How about when we get mailers like this in the newspaper
Yes, it'll be fine.
or in the mailbox, okay, so we can recycle those. And, ads and things like that, that's all, how's that classified as newspaper, is it?
Yes, sir.
All paper,
Newsprint is always recycled,
okay,
always sought after.
Okay.
So has value.
all right. And putting these in together, it's really important to be empty, clean, and dry so that they don't contaminate each other?
Empty, clean and dry, and loose inside your container. Don't
Okay.
bag them and throw
Okay.
the bag in, because somebody at that processing center has to put the bag apart.
That would be, this would be a bad idea, so I
It's a bad idea.
separated, so I wanna pour this all in separately,
Right.
okay?
What about papers on the bottles? Do you have to take the paper off?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Milk jug, so I rinsed this out a couple times, and, so we wanna take the lid off and discard the lid, and that's recyclable, okay? When we get to, cardboard, containers like this, and once again, like Terry said, we don't wanna stuff one thing inside of another.
Correct.
That kinda defeats the purpose, so this is,
Well, imagine somebody at that processing center has to dismantle it.
okay?
Sometimes there could be shards of glass in there, there could be, it's just not, it's, keep it loose, keep it clean.
Okay. And then, cardboard like this isn't corrugated cardboard, it's basically the same as paper, is that how?
Fiberboard, but
Okay,
it's actually cardboard, and you're thinking about OCC, which is old corrugated containers, which,
Uh-huh.
like a cardboard box you get from Amazon,
okay,
but those are absolutely recyclable.
okay. All right, so that goes in recycling. Here's another question, glass is a big question because our residents with, in Summit County, they're, trying to recycle glass. I rinsed this out a couple times, hopefully, well, it's still got a little bit of moisture in there. The lid and the container, is this trash? We're throwing this in the trash?
Talking to Summit again, Summit County, Reworks. Our direction with Summit County would be, we don't wanna have Cape glass. Reason is, the CO2 value, what it takes to recycle glass is very high compared to something like aluminum, paper, or plastic. There is no value, so it costs $30 to $50 a ton to get it to a market where you get nothing for it.
Okay.
So by the time you risk somebody getting hurt because the shards get embedded through being packed into the truck or going through the line or whatever, somebody get hurt at the processing center, the shards of glass actually hurt on the equipment.
Okay. So it's
I would
trash.
advocate trash cans.
Plus, we save water by not having to clean it out.
Yeah.
How about the lid? A metal lid,
Yes.
recycle?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, another metal lid. So, the corrugated cardboard. So this is what I get my green tea in, and it comes with a plastic wrap. The plastic wrap is trash, and this is the OCC.
It's the OCC. Yeah.
Okay, so that gets recycled. Alrighty. So with that said, I don't really think I have anything else in there that, we haven't covered already. Cereal boxes, flyers, newspapers, and more plastic containers. So hopefully that helps our residents to know what needs to be recycled. I guess the question for the committee, for council, is moving forward, do we want to continue to pick this recycling up 4 times a month? And when the volume's gonna be down significantly, or is there something we could do to go to a bi-weekly collection, and what would that look like? So,
Bi-weekly looks, it's advantageous, and a lot of municipalities are using it. You're cutting down the truck traffic on your truck, or on your street, the non-curb streets are the ones that you take the beating.
right.
No matter what truck's running up and down that street, so, most people can get an ample supply of material in a 65-gallon cart. So I don't think they're gonna have a space problem getting, all the material in a cart.
Okay.
The one big issue that's growing is gonna be, the boxes that come from Amazon and come from, orders on the web. More and more people, we see these boxes, and, cut them down, bundle them up, and stack them. They probably will bridge inside your recycling containers, so if you can cut them down into 2x2 squares, tie them up with a string or tape or whatever, and the guy will pick them up, get back to recycling.
And we also still have containers behind Heritage Square Plaza, several containers for cardboard and paper and plastic. So
That's-
a lot of our township residents who recycle bring their materials there, and township also has a location there at their maintenance building, in town hall, or the township hall, so.
The
That's
other thing people need to understand is, all these programs are regional. And it really depends on the processing centers that are handling them. If you go to Georgia, there's a big need for styrofoam. The problem is, by the time we get a truckload of styrofoam and get it to Georgia, you just don't wanna pay for it. So, you have to look at where you're at, and, you know, you can ask the questions when you start comparing, you know, one municipality to another, but you gotta look at the processing centers, cause there's limits to all of them.
Okay. So styrofoam would be garbage and we're just throwing that in the
Yes.
trash? Okay, and it'll go in the landfill,
Right.
okay. All right, so if we did a bi-weekly program as an experiment, and that's what I'm throwing out to council and the committee, see if we wanna make that kind of recommendation. What do other municipalities do? Do they do like the first and third week?
What we'll do is determine the best way to work it into routing. We'll give you a calendar that'll show A week and B week. We'll split the city somewhere.
Okay,
And wherever that is, one half will be A week, one half will be B week, so we'll always have a truck in the area. But, yeah, we'd be glad to work through that detail.
okay. And as far as cost savings would go, what I would think that for the time being, just for us to experiment with us, to keep the billing the same,
Yeah,
and,
we don't know where recycling is going, the processing is gonna go. I mean, our costs, the 1st of October, it didn't cost us a dime to process. Matter of fact, we got some refunds back. Midway through the year, it started costing us about $10 a ton. The first time I talked to you and, Mr. Cozy was, probably 2 months ago, and it went to $35 a ton. Today's at $100 a ton. So, I don't know where it's gonna end. We don't, you know, China's not softened their position at all. We do see some domestic markets opening back up, so there's some things that are gonna be changing. So I think the next step would be, go to every other week.
okay. All right, so we would need to sit down and come up with a calendar and a schedule, if that's the direction council wants to go, and then get that information out to our residents.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And is the need to do this to keep the costs down for our residents, to go to bi-weekly instead of weekly? Is that the
I-
purpose of all this? I mean, they're gonna ask,
Yeah,
What's-
Most people put it out every other week anyway. It's just we've gotta be here every other week and go up and down every street.
oh, okay.
So, there are some that put it out every week.
Mm-hmm.
If they would just be a little more diligent about maybe breaking down the plastic bottles and the cardboard, and, it can be done. And, you know, we can always provide another card if that's necessary.
But if they're not gonna pick it up every week, right? We just have to know which week. Get
and that's,
used to
that's,
that.
right, and that'll be a communication issue for us to get that information out to our residents. And that's why you divide up the city equally, so that if someone accidentally put their container out, maybe a truck could come by and pick it up, or they could just take it back up to their house and,
Right.
okay,
But the price will be the same as if they were putting it out every week,
for now.
for now.
Yeah, and obviously, we have the 78 cents surcharge, and that's charged each month, and our goal would be to cut that in half, obviously, and then, you know, save on cost of whatever it's costing us each week to pick that recycling up.
Do you know about when this new pickup is gonna start, maybe,
Yeah,
by any chance?
We haven't decided.
You haven't decided, okay.
We can say by, it can be May 1st, it can be April 1st. I would say May 1st might be more reasonable to give people time.
yeah, and give us time to get the word out there, so. All right. Other questions you all may have. One of the thoughts I had, and I called Les Camp, and I apologize, I should have called him sooner, but the township did a collection of electronics, old TVs and VCRs and things like that, and I wanted to touch base with him to see how that program went, if they intended to do it again. But that's something else that we could possibly look at as another service that we could offer to our residents. Actually, that suggestion came from some of our guys in the street department who live in other communities that have programs like that,
I
so.
think the township offered us, the city,
Oh,
to
yeah,
bring it
yeah,
too. They
yeah.
weren't excluding us. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, so, and, there's a program out there, and our folks are taking advantage of it with, old tires, where we get vouchers from, I think it's, the county maybe, to allow us to load up old tires when we change our tires on our vehicles, so that we're not charged, what garages normally charge, people to the public to, get rid of those tires. So, there's some programs that we're hoping that we might be able to implement to improve the quality of our services to our residents, so.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
about something? It's to do with this, but I know there's one truck that goes down and it picks up the recyclables. And then I have another truck that goes down my road later in the afternoon to pick up, empty the trash cans. So it's two of them on that same street, which
Mhm.
I thought we were trying to eliminate, trucks,
Right,
so many trucks.
Yep.
And that's what I'm just wondering, why it's two different trips.
it's two
You
different,
probably make,
yeah,
you probably on that street 4 times, because they'll work on the right side with trash.
Yes.
They come to the left side with trash, and then they work the right side with recycling, and come to the other side, so. But if you're gonna, you gotta collect the trash and recycling in different trucks anyway.
Okay.
so,
I have a question
Yeah.
about recyclables. What about those cardboard milk containers and juice containers? And they have the plastic cap, and they have like a little plastic spout. I mean, are those recyclable or just throw those in
And
the
then
trash?
wax cover.
Actually, Green Star wants the gable top containers.
Okay,
Milk carton, gravy, I don't know what all you put in.
They want it?
Whipped cream,
Okay.
yes, they want this.
okay.
Whipped cream?
Because they wax
I
it.
think whipped cream comes in.
Waxy, and there's a
Whipping
plastic
cream.
cap.
Yeah.
Oh, those
We'll
little,
take the
oh, I
cap
see.
off.
I
like
know,
you get at
little-
school, the school
I
milk
know,
cartons.
yeah, all right,
Take the
okay,
cap off.
okay.
They don't
But
want
take the
the
cap off.
Yeah, they don't want the
Take the
cap.
cap.
Take the cap,
Empty,
okay.
clean, and dry,
We go through a lot of those.
Yeah.
and loose.
Orange juice.
Right, right.
Okay,
So,
good.
So getting back to your point, Bonnie, about, and this kind of opens up another category, about an exclusive provider, and I know we've been reluctant to do that. The program we have now, Republic, does about 90% of our residents' trash, and as people move in the city, according to the agreement we have, they're supposed to have Republic Services as their trash haulers. So that's something else for our residents to be aware of. But, when we do go out to bid again for a new contract, that's something that I would like us to look at, is just, an exclusive provider for our residential trash, which would help to eliminate some of those trucks going down the street just to pick up 1 or 2 residents' trash.
I'll pass this around, this is a sticker that we put on down in Marysville. It's outdated already, we put it on last July. But it would give you, it's something that would help residents understand what goes in the cart, what doesn't go in the cart. Because there are gonna be times when the commodities may change, and that's really gonna be driven by the processing centers. So when that happens, we wanna, be able to communicate that and reinforce it some way.
And I know it's not on front of anyone's mind right now as far as grass is concerned, grass clippings. But the grass clippings would go in here with all the other trash, so, and that actually aids in the decomposition process, so. Residents, it's okay to take your grass clippings and throw them in the trash container.
It's primarily water anyway, so. yeah.
All right,
How
any
about
other?
how about the plastic, pop can holders,
The rings.
the rings?
Yeah.
Is that trash or is that
I
recycled?
would throw those away.
Okay,
Sheet plastic bags.
that's, right, okay.
And even I'd say this for the plastic bags. If you can somehow, even if you use them for trash can liners at home. The thing about those plastic bags you get from the grocery store, once they get out at the landfill, a little bit of a breeze will take them up into the trees, and then we've got to pick those up.
I just saved mine and take them to Walmart and put them in their
Yeah.
recycle box.
Ideal place, ideal thing
That's
to do with them.
what I do with them.
All right. Little containers like this, Terry, I can't see what number is on there.
Number one, number two, bottles and jugs. I would just try to drill that into everybody's mind.
Yeah, this looks like a number 5. Trash. All right.
Again, those are recyclable, but they have no value. It costs you more to process them than they're worth. And that's what, Green Star is still accepting them. But, like I said, it costs you $35 plus a ton to bail it.
Okay, so could you explain when I dump this into my recycling can and then your company comes and picks this up, and it all goes into the truck? The truck takes it to the recycling center because it's a recycling truck, so everything in there should be recycling. Can you talk to us about contamination and how important it is for us to keep things separate and do it correctly?
Things have changed in the last 6 months. China was handling, well, I'll just say this, of all the material that China handled, 40% of it came from the United States. They declared in 2017 and put into action in May of 2018 a ban on mixed plastics and mixed waste paper. They will not accept mixed plastics, mixed waste paper.
What do you mean by mixed plastics?
1 through 7.
Okay.
Some processors will just put all the plastics together, some will divide them up. The ones in one place, 2 someplace else, they may even break down to the 5, 3 through 7. Most of them will combine them, and they would send them to China. China got tired of the contamination. So they banned all that material, and it sent everybody looking for new markets. There was a glut for domestic markets, and the handout I handed you was kind of a chart that will make you nauseous if you look at it too long, but it shows you where, in 2017, where the plastics came from, where they went to, and then in 2018, what happened. But China no longer wants mixed plastics or mixed paper, so we find domestic markets for them as we can. What it's caused at the processing centers is the belts have to be slowed down. They have to add people, limit the contamination. The reason being the contamination level that they would accept for the material that they still accept went from 3% down to 0.5%. So if you imagine a 2,000-pound bale, we were allowed to put up to 60%, up to 60 pounds of, I'll call it contamination. It's not necessarily garbage. It could be glass that was embedded, it could be some plastic that made it in, the wrong paper, or whatever. Now it's 0.5%, or 10 pounds per 2,000-pound bale. If they exceed that, they close the doors up on the container and ship it back. And a lot of containers end up coming back over the last 6 months. Not only to us, I mean to a lot of markets. So it's changed. So it's got to be empty, clean, and dry. Keep it loose in the container. Watch for what the list is. Stick to the list. It's just that simple. And if somebody asks you, will you take this, that, or the other thing, if you're asking about it, I would say probably it doesn't fit one of the categories that we gave.
When in doubt, throw it out. Okay. All right. Cliff, did we get any questions from people on Facebook?
No, we might later, the stream actually got interrupted, so.
Okay. All right. Very good. Any other questions from council? All right. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.